Olá, sobrevivencialistas! Está começando o novo Sobrevivência em Pauta, onde hoje nós temos um convidado muito especial. Nós estamos aqui com o Selco, do blog Shit Hits the Fan School, que é aquele blog no qual eu traduzo alguns textos, e hoje ele está aqui para conversar pessoalmente conosco e discutir um pouquinho sobre as experiências dele. Estamos muito honrados por esse convite. A entrevista vai acontecer em inglês, então o processo todo vai estar legendado durante o vídeo. Vocês podem acompanhar as legendas, quem não tiver conhecimento em inglês, ok? Well, Selco, can you present yourself, tell a little bit about your history and how did you become what you are today?
Yeah, Julio, sure. Actually, I had bad luck actually to live through the Balkan Wars during the 90 years in last century. Without going too much in details, what kind of wars that be, because it's too complicated. But I think result is important. Result was that I was living for something like around 1 year in a city that was completely cut off from everything that makes normal modern city. I mean, everything: electric, food, running water, anything. It was completely. It was shit a fan situation, and I need to say to all of who listen to this that that city was like any other normal city in Europe or world, because that's important. It wasn't some kind of weird city in some weird part of the world. It was a normal city like every other city in that time in Europe or world, and it became a city, and life in that city was something actually was pure survival, in short.
I see. And inside the city, you just got 1 year stuck in there without any kind of resources, like you said before. It's that much extreme.
Yeah, actually, because of the all events that lead to that situation, and bigger event, of course, was war and siege of the city. Everything was stripped down to bare minimal things that you need to survive. When I say that, I think I'm thinking about in some maybe 2 weeks. Water supply was off. I mean, running water, electricity was out even before that. Stores were destroyed. It wasn't simply. It wasn't. That situation was not something like a bad economical situation where you cannot go to bank and take your money. It's a situation where even if you had money, it wasn't so useful because you didn't have anything to buy it. And even if I had something to buy, most of the folks, I can say 99% of the folks, were not accepting the money because they again cannot use that money for something useful. So it was real survival.
I see. So after 2 weeks, the money just got useless.
No, it wasn't. It was not so simply like that. But after maybe 2 or 3 weeks, if you had some amount of money, and I'm going to talk now in today terms and today value. So, for example, if I had like 100 euros, in that time it was Deutschmarks, but okay, we will talk about euros. If I had 100 euros and a normal price of can of food or meat or whatever was like €1, for that 100 euros you could buy maybe 5 or 6 cans of food. If you had enough luck to find someone who will accept your money, because money pretty soon became useless especially our money. I mean, local money from our country, especially. There used to be some guys that were accepting foreign money, foreign currency like U.S. dollars, Deutschland, Germany marks, and stuff like that, value money like that. But even if you had enough foreign money, value of goods that you can buy with that money, it was completely changed. That was one example with that can, and everything else was like that. So, in short, with 1,000 German mark, you couldn't buy too much, even if you find somebody who are willing to sell you something for money.
I see. And of course, you had some kind of preparations in your house when the crisis started, or you just didn't have anything stored, how can I say?
No, in my house, I had like most of the guys in that time. I had like stuff that most of the people who are not preppers have in their houses today. If you understand me, I didn't know about anything about concept of prepper or survival stuff. Or everything was new, and all that came as a surprise for me. So whatever I had in my house in that time, it was something that brought me to few days. And everything else, I wasn't prepared.
And if you got some preparations, I think for 1 month, at least, it could be very much easier, or it could be a little bit dangerous because of your neighborhoods or things like that.
Yeah, but that process of becoming of stuff becoming dangerous, situation that you mentioned now, danger of your neighbors because you have something interesting for them. That process was not temporary. It came in stages, if you understand me.
Yeah.
So first period of time, you could still something like divide, something like okay, these guys are good and these guys are probably bad. There is still some kind of categories, if you understand me. But as the situation go more bad, more deteriorating, if you understand me, all normal categories from normal times was wrong, because as I already mentioned somewhere to study, if you have normal guy who have kids and wife and his family and he's a good guy, but as soon as his kids starting to be hungry, he's going to do stuff in order to feed the kids. So it was not something like, okay, today it fans, today everybody is hunting for everybody. It wasn't.
Yeah, it's something like that escalated.
It was slow process. Yeah, correct.
And one of the questions that I'm got to ask you is when this whole violence between the neighborhoods and the citizens start to begin, which one were more dangerous? The army who was around the city, or the citizens by themselves?
It's a good question actually, but I think maybe citizens, because if you are talking now about enemy armies and clashes and everything, most of the time we knew where positions were of any army and any army in any time, most of the time. But you never know when situations went very bad. You never know who is spying at your house and who is suspecting that you have something interesting for him, or who do you can mention that you have something in your house. So very soon it was processed again, but very soon we find ourselves in a situation that you suspect to anyone except people in your house.
And what do you think that it's the most important thing that made you survive through this whole year? What was the major motivation or the major ability who made you survive?
I think there's a few things that responsible for the fact that I survived. Actually, first, I was not alone In that time, I had family. I had a group of people with me. I was part of the group actually. In that time, if I was alone, I'm not sure how I go through all that. But if you were part of some group, something bigger in that time, it was much easier because a lot of stuff in that time was new for all of us. I mean, we kind of invented things in that time because a lot of the times were happened to us for the first time. I mean, if you have not water to drink, you need to figure out where you will find water to drink and food and everything else, and how you're going to defend yourself. So a lot of the stuff we just learned during our walk, I don't know what's the word for that, it was learning in process. That was the one part. I was not alone, and you can say that a lot of us combined our skills and knowledge. Whatever knowledge and whatever skill we had, when we combined that, it was much easier. I mentioned that old guy from my family. I mean, he was old guy at that time. He couldn't do, I mean, some stuff that most of the guys today think that made survival stuff. I mean, he couldn't run, he couldn't climb, and anything like that. But he had life experience, and he remembered some stuff from Second World War. Actually, and how he survived some bad situations. So, in short, everybody had some kind of I don't know word, but everybody combined their knowledge and skills together and make easier.
I think that from what you say here and on your blog and your course, we can see that everything got to the family, right? Or there are some families who got splitted by this shit hits the fan scenario, or they get united a little bit more stronger than on normal days.
Here, traditionally here in this region, family ties are strong. Okay, there is a trend, like I guess anywhere in the world, that ties are becoming weaker and weaker. I think that trend is everywhere. But still, we have strong family ties, and we have a lot of sayings about blood connection and stuff like that. So we trust that when it comes to bad times, you need to trust. You need to have your family with you, your blood, because they are only people who you can trust. And that was my situation. Of course, there was cases of bad splitting of families in that time due to many reasons. I think main reason was because some of the younger members of families, I guess you can call that, run from the house and join some other group in order to make their life easier. We can call that. I
Understand. And on your blog, you usually say that we have to stick to the basics, right? We have to think on the most basic planning. What do you mean by that? How can we focus? How can I say it more clearly? Here on a society where we have access to a lot of technology, a lot of equipment with nice properties and high cost, how can we make those people who are used to use a knife who costs like $200 survive with something like a piece of steel? How can we focus on the basics even with all those access that we have here today?
First, I believe thing is most of the folks who thinking about survival and are in survival, there's a problem about mindset. We can call it like that, because all of our preparations in today normal times, we are setting that preparations basing on our mindset in normal time. And it's completely wrong, because when you throw yourself in hit the fan, all of the combination of all of the events are changed. That all of your preparations. Some complicated, but it's very simple. There is not too much use of discussing about too much equipment, because sooner or later you'll find yourself waiting for the rain to fall, if I can call it like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not advocating something like when shit hits the fan, I'm going to lose and live from the nature without anything. No, I'm preparing and have a lot of stuff. But that stuff that I had, I'm aware that the stuff that I have, I'm going to use that only as a help to get me to that situation that in which I'm not going to have anything. I'm just going to prolong that period to that situation. I don't sure did you understand me?
I see. So the equipment, it's a help for your survival. It's not what determines the survival, right?
Of course, yeah. Correct. Your English is better than mine. Correct.
What can you tell me, as a psychologist, I like to focus on that too. How can you say about the emotional problems about being on a crisis state? Because I believe that the stress is very, very much more bigger than a normal condition, right?
Yes, of course. What helped me in that period, actually, I was thinking and acting and living like I have my own small world inside that house, and everything else is something that's not so really important. The important thing is that I want to survive, and that's more family around me. That way of thinking helped me in that time. But I also must mention that one other way of thinking helped me. I forced myself to think something like, okay, whatever happens is going to happen, and that's it. There is no reason to worry about that. Something like that. I don't know how can you call that, like fatalist opinion or something like that. Not sure. But don't get me wrong.
It's like
everything what I suppressed. Yep.
It's like something that you awake every day and you say, well, if I'm gonna die today, I'm gonna die. Something like that.
Yes, something like that. I'm just going to take care about my small world and inside the small world, I'm going to take care about that problems, and we will see how it's going to be. But don't get me wrong, everything what I suppressed in that time gets me later. So I don't think that you can remove some stuff. Sooner or later, you need to deal with that.
I understand. And how can you deal with all those memories today? It's one of the things that fascinates the people who know you the most, as I can see from the comments and everything else. How could you manage to talk about those traumatic events without getting depressed about it or anything else?
Well, I have my bad moments, but to be honest, those events are happening, and I cannot forget that. I mean, there is no way to forget that, and it's easier if I'm using that events to make something useful for somebody, to talk about that, to discuss about that, to write about that, to learn something. I don't know, break maybe some popular opinions that are wrong. It's easier when I talk about that. Yeah.
Very nice. And one of the questions that I want to ask you, sorry for just keep it jumping from theme for theme, but one of the things that I wanted to know, we have here in Brazil, we have a lot of focus on the primitive techniques. How can you make fire without matches or lighters? How can you make a shelter without any kind of equipment and things like that? Do you believe that those, I could say, bushcraft techniques helped you through this wartime?
Well, my situation was a little bit different.
So I don't think that helped me too much in that period of time, that year, because as I said many times, I had much more use from simple, cheap lighter than some, I don't know, cool skill for lighting fire. But again, I'm not saying that it's not going to be useful tomorrow. I'm just saying my experience. I'm advocating common sense and simple things. Yeah, why not? I mean, everything that you can learn in order to prepare yourself better. Yeah, sure. I'm not saying that you just need to have a lighter in order to start fire, because sooner or later you're gonna find without lighter and without fuel. Sure, yeah.
And as we are talking about resources, I just can't, I myself have not been through any kind of experience like that, so I just can't understand how can we survive without medical supplies, without proper food or proper boiled water. How is to live on something like that? You have to come back to the very basics of existence, right?
Yeah, actually, answer is very simple to that question. How could we survive? A lot of people didn't survive because they didn't have had proper medical care. I'm in medical field. I'm a medical worker, and I was in that time and before that time. So I did in time a lot of you can call it medical services, but again, you cannot save a guy just with your knowledge and with your hands. You need to have medical stuff. An example, for example, antibiotics. But to get back to your question, how people survive. A lot of people did not survive. A lot of people died because of very simple things. I mean, diarrhea can kill you in those conditions because it's easy. Small problems become bigger problem when bigger problem at the end kills you. If you had diarrhea for days or weeks, at the end you're going to die, especially if you're very young or very old or you have some medical condition, and you get that diarrhea at the beginning from dirty water. I mean, we can talk today about iodine pills, stuff like that, for cleaning water. In that time, we clean water with boiling and rough filtering through the bandage or gloves or t-shirt, and that was treatment for the water. And I think great majority of my people from my family and everybody else in that time in town had problem with diarrhea. It was not an everyday thing, but I certainly have 7 or 8 or maybe 10 times very bad cases of diarrhea that hold me for weeks, for a week or two. And when you that, if you are not in good shape, or if you had some kind of medical condition, if you are some disease, I mean, whatever, it can kill you at the end. Simple diarrhea. So answer is yes. A lot of people die.
That's very complicated.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's a little bit ironic, right? Because today, if I cut my finger, I just can go there and put some kind of antiseptic, and it's gonna be fine. And on that time, you didn't have those kind of things, right?
Yeah, that's another example. When I mentioned small problems became bigger problems, and bigger problems that at the end kill you. Today, if you go out and cut yourself somewhere, usually you're just gonna go home and clean a little bit of that, and you're going to tell yourself, okay, I'm just going to check to go and pay a visit to a physician if this gets complicated, and that's it. In most situations, it does not get complicated because everything is okay today. That situation, small cuts, there's much more chances that small cut are going to get complicated, and in that situation, if small cut get complicated, it can kill you because there is no anybody to pay a visit in that time.
Yeah.
If you are not proper.
Do you think that it's more important when we talk about storing all those supplies that are very useful during a crisis scenarios? Do you think that it's more important to have everything focused on some kind of super bunker where you can store, I think, 1 year of supplies? Or do you think that it's more wise to divide those supplies on different locations?
Oh, well, I guess it depends where you are going to find yourself when shit hits the fan. If you are talking about some kind of rural settings, it makes sense to have all the stuff with you at the one place. If you are going to find yourself at the urban settings, well, again, there's a whole bunch of possible scenarios that require of you that you need to have your useful stuff some kind of spread not at the same place. Just one example. I knew a lot of guys, a lot of people, families in that time that used to be forced to leave their house for a day or two. In some cases, guys just left the house for one night and go like 300 meters from the house and spend the night over there because some other guys broke in their house in order to take the stuff to spend the night and drink and party. Everything called a party, and after that they just leave the house, and that all family from the house can go back. So in that scenario, there's a good idea is to some kind of to make some kind of secret stash all around the houses, or to leave just something visible. Understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, of course, that's very useful tip actually. And when we talk about those stashes, I think we have to talk about mobility. It was how much time and how much effort would be necessary to make yourself like 1 kilometer through the city. I think that when we are talking about a war scenario, we are talking about a very dangerous place, right?
Yeah, but also keep in mind, and I'm always pointing that when I write something, war, in my case, war was the reason. But I don't think that it's going to be much different if reason going to be like EMP, for example, because whatever cause is going to cause similar things in one town. There's not going to be food, no running water, no electricity, and sooner or later we are going to have armed groups that are fighting for resources. It's same, and that was what I tried was situation that I ran through. So, cause it's not so really important. Okay, if you are talking about some smaller and shorter events like weather events, hurricanes and stuff like that, that's different. But some bigger shit hit the fan, cause is not so important. It's going to be pretty much same, more or less.
When we were talking about, though, you said that there was a possibility where you just have to leave your house because some people was going in. Those peoples were like gangs and bad guys. How can I say it?
Yeah, you can say gangs, you can say bad guys. It's hard to give some correct name for that, because whatever I say now is going to be some kind of cliche. If I say gang, most of the guys will think that those are gangs like from the movies. If I say, I don't know, bad guy, in short, sooner or later, and that was in my case situation, people are going to be organized. Some of folks are organized through the families or through the groups. Some other folks are organized through the groups, but bigger groups, and they're just going and for the resources. Some of them inside the groups were not citizens. I mean, before that situation, some of them are mostly criminals. But again, at the end, all of them are going to harm you in a way of your resources. So it's not really important are they bad or good. Point is that they're probably going to hurt you, if you understand me.
Well, I think it's very difficult to divide who is bad and who is good, because everyone has their own reasons, right?
Yeah, correct. The classification of bad and good in times like that are completely changed, because I can define myself in some of the situations like the bad guy in that time.
Yeah, I see.
If you understand me. but I still consider myself a good guy, so depends.
Yeah, and how do you defend yourself? What's the importance to have a weapon in your house or things like that? Because here in Brazil, we are being I could say we are being very, very repressed about having a gun on our house, and we have to get a lot of paper to get a gun over our house and things like that. Do you think that having a gun, it would be easier to make your defense, or at least scare someone who is trying to get your things or hurt you?
Of course, I definitely suggest that everybody have some kind of weapon and to be familiar with that weapon. In that time, when you mention laws like that were here before the war, and today laws are a little, yeah, again, you need a bunch of papers to get guns, but still most of the folks here have guns, and that time you couldn't survive without any kind of some kind of weapon, without some kind of showing that you are going to do harm to somebody who is attacking you. But again, it wasn't like I just go out and going to shoot bad guys. No. First, the main thing was just to stay out of the trouble, to be not interesting. When I wrote that not interesting, I mean, sooner or later there's going to somebody will attack you who is stronger than you. I mean, bigger in numbers. So just stay low, keep low profile, and be heavily armed and ready. And just do not look for trouble. But if somebody attacks you, you need to be prepared to crush him.
That's very interesting. Here we have, as you said before, people. I think that they use their fantasies too much. We have some kind of people. I can say most of them are Americans, who thinks that when shit hits the fan, they're gonna be on the roof of their houses shooting their sniper rifles. You know, what do you think about it?
No, it's not like that. I mean, there used to be a lot of the guys who were shooting with snipers, but when shit hit the fan, even if you don't want to be small, you will be small, because it's not like in movie. It's a bad situation, and there is no anything romantic in that, and there is anything heroic in that. I like to say when shit hit the fan, in that time when shit hit the fan, heroes were dead in a few days, if you understand me. Heroes and tough guys. Tough guys mostly did not survive. Smart guys survived. If you understand me.
That's interesting and very ironic, because after all the survivalists consider themselves as smart guys.
Yeah. When I say tough guys, I mean people who expect that when shit hit the fan, he'll go out and do whatever he wants because he has a lot of guns. It's not about that.
Okay, and where do you got your gun? Did you have any gun on your house to defend yourself? How did it happen, the first conflict, or did you avoid all the conflicts through that time?
No, of course. In that time, nobody could avoid all conflicts. As I say, sooner or later, everybody gets himself in conflict because a simple trip from point A to point B was dangerous. I mean, whatever trip you are going to take at that time, to do something, to find water, to find some kind of woods, or whatever. To get yourself infected. When people attacked me first time, I'm not talking about only myself. When people attacked my house first time, it was stressful. Yeah, we can say, but it was not. Without going too much in details, it's not so hard to shoot. It's only operation of pulling trigger. Something else, you need something else to do harm to man, you know.
I see.
Is the easiest thing. Operation of pulling the trigger.
So there was no, how can I say, those moral ethics where we think about killing someone else. It's much more easier to just shoot at someone, killing it or not, because of the crisis scenario, right?
Yeah. Forget about moral things in that time. If shit hit fan again, you'll see that moral is, I can say, first victim in shit hit the fan situation. Moral is gone. I mean, and this most of the people don't want to hear is that moral is gone, because most of the people talk about themselves that they are good in nature, and if you understand me, but that's not. Those things were not important at all. Important was to survive. If you want to survive, you're going to do things.
I see. And could I say or think that the most important tool to survive is to adapt yourself to the scenario? Where are you in?
Most important, yeah. Most important thing that you can do today. First, to accept that you're going to change. When shit hits the fan, you're not going to be the same man, because you're not going. You could not operate and survive with today thinking. When shit hits the fan, you're going to change a lot of things. You're going to do different things. Yeah, of course, in process of that, you have to adapt. That's the adapting, actually.
Okay, and when we are talking about all those scenarios, the first thinking that I have is that it's a very dangerous place all the time. How did the entertainment work? What did you guys done to get some kind of motivation to get living? The fun times. How could you manage to have some fun on a scenario like that? Because a human can't live without some kind of humor on their lives, right?
Yeah, sure. Actually, there used to be a lot of situations when we had something like fun, like you can call that party. And most of the time, actually, all the time when we had party, we just used way too much alcohol and pot, marijuana. In that time, I can say that, and it's interesting too. I think 90% of people at that time use marijuana, and of course that had something with relaxing, I guess, or forgetting bad situations or whatever. But even older folks, I mean, conservative folks, just you smoke that a lot, marijuana. We had a lot of parties.
And how did you got the marijuana and the alcohol? As you are saying me, the resources are very scarce and very hard to get, right? How did you manage to get all those how can I say, fun substances?
Yeah, actually, that my region in that time, cheapest, well, not cheapest, but one of the cheapest few things were alcohol and marijuana. Alcohol was very cheap because of the fact that inside the town it was a big alcohol distillery or factory, or how do you call it? And when war started, the factory was just smashed, and inside the factory were huge, like pools, distillery pools. So just people just took a lot of that. I personally took a bunch of that stuff and mixed that with water. It wasn't like finished drink. I mean, finished alcohol. It was in process of distillery. So I mixed that with water. And also marijuana, traditionally in that part of the country, marijuana grows a lot. Before that and even today, because of the geographic position. Those two things were cheap.
I see.
And everywhere.
That's
compared to some other things, I mean, coffee, for example, was very expensive, very expensive. Alcohol and pot.
That's very interesting, actually, because we think that those kind of things would be the most expensive, like cigarettes and things like that, right? And but changing a little bit the focus, how can you say that the crisis it was finishing? Did you sense how this process happened when you were there and fighting for survival, and things just started to change from this uncivilized world to a place where it would become normal again? What were the first signs that you saw?
Just to mention one more thing, cigarettes were very expensive at that time, and to have like 10 boxes of cigarettes, you could be rich through trading.
Whoa!
But yeah, everything I can say that everything that relaxed people in a way or something like that was expensive. Coffee, cigarettes, but it was only case of luck that pot and alcohol was cheap. You could still always trade alcohol and pot because always it was in demand. It was just cheap, but coffee and cigarettes always in demand but very expensive. About your second question, all that period there used to be a lot of rumors that because we lived our information about and news about anything outside of that small region were based on rumors mostly. So rumors were everywhere and all the time that this is going to happen or that's going to happen or there's going to be peace tomorrow or siege is going to end in 10 days. So actually I think that when real news came that siege is going to end, I think nobody believed because probably we all thought it's going to be rumor again because every day rumors were raging.
And how did this happen? One day you are on war and fighting for survival, and when peace came, you just got yourself on the streets hugging your neighborhoods. How did this happen? How did the relationships over the neighborhoods and the citizens got together again?
No, definitely it wasn't like that. It is a slow process, and like I say, that process is still on. There's still hate here. Trust me. 20 years after that, there is still hate. But the process of fighting and shooting and killing, I think it was something like maybe a month. That process lasted for a month because it was made by international forces that just forced divided sides to stop shooting in short. So, but even for next month, shooting were on. Even for next month, you could be sure that if you are going some part of the time, you won't be shot by a sniper or somebody else. But probably for next year, sporadic shootings will happen everywhere for next year. But if you are talking about process of when you mentioned hugging and cheering and stuff like that, no, there was not any real happiness and cheering and hugging, and there's a lot of bad feelings here still, 20 years after.
Yeah, I see. They still persist, right?
Yeah.
And how all this thing changed you, Selco? What can you say that changed the Selco from before the war and the Selco today? What was the major things that changed for you on your life?
Well, major thing and most important thing actually that I understand that bad things can happen to you, and it's not the end of the world. I mean, even bad things can happen to you, and nobody cares. Even that, if you understand me. So we all are thinking that if something bad happened to us or our town, region, or whatever, that it's going to be end of the world. But actually, sooner or later, we realize that and bad things happen to you outside the world, doesn't care, and you need to live. So in short, important thing that I realized that bad things can happen to you, and you need to be prepared. There is no sense of waiting for somebody else to help you. You need to be prepared from every small detail. You need to be prepared.
I see. And did you suffer from some kind of post-traumatic stress or anything related to it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, almost everybody here suffers, who go through that situation, suffers from that. So I can say it's not a big deal here. Most of the folks have some kind of problems from that. I had some problems, but I go over that problems years ago. And now, I mean, I'm okay. I'm feeling good doing this. What I do, writing about this, talking about this, is good for me.
I see. It's a little bit more constructive to you talking about it than suppress it, right?
Yeah, sure. There is no sense of suppressing things.
I see. I understand. And Selco, what could you say to Brazilian people today who are hearing you and who on some ways admire your experience? What kind of message can you leave to them?
I mean, keep open mind. Keep open mind for everything. Do not just go and read something, whatever, and say this is stupid at first glance. You can learn. You can learn a lot of even from a stupid man. So just keep open mind for everything, and try to research things, to check things on your own. Because again, if somebody tell you that this is good and you need to do this, you need to do that, just go on and check that things. Because when shit hit the fan, it's always better to be prepared, but in a way that you check some things. When times was very good, you check some things. It is very important that it's a bad thing when shit hits the fan and you need to go to some things, you need to check some things. It doesn't matter what we're talking about now. Is it equipment or some kind of theory or your fitness or your pistol or whatever? You don't have enough time when shit hits the fan to go and check things, because when shit hits the fan, things are it's way too fast. If you understand it, when shit hits the fan, so check everything today.
So we have to be practical and not theoretical, right?
Yeah, sure, of course.
I see. That's very interesting. So Selco, where we can find you? How can we know more about you?
Yeah, sure. I'm writing and all about this at shit hit the fan. School.com. So just go and check over there.
Nice. And you have a course, right, where you talk about all those experiences in very much more detail, right?
Yeah, sure. In that course, I'm talking about how I was in that time to me, to my roots, to my family, and how I did things, and in short, how I survived.
That's very awesome, Selco. So I think we're gonna end the interview right here, because as I said before, we can be talking to all day long with you and getting you late to work, right? And so thank you so much. We have a very great admiration for you, and if you have the availability, we can of course do another kind of interview like that if you want it. So thank you so much for being here with us. It's something very important to us to have someone who survived those kind of things to put us over the reality again, and just get off of those fantasies where we based ourselves on movies, right? So thank you so much for taking your time to talking with us, okay?
Okay, well, thank you, Julio, for giving me the opportunity to talk here, and I'm here for you always.
Okay, Selco, thank you so much. So right now we're gonna end this show and maybe we talk later, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Bye bye, Selco. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Então é isso aí, pessoal. Espero que vocês tenham gostado. Caso vocês acharam o programa relevante, por favor, coloquem aí nos comentários abaixo a opinião sobre os temas discutidos. O Selco vai estar recebendo algumas perguntas, como ele me informou, e pode estar respondendo para a gente também. Dê uma força, clique em gostei no vídeo ou não gostei. Ajude aí divulgando para a comunidade sobrevivencialista esse vídeo, que é rico em conteúdo e tem alguém que sabe do que está falando para contribuir com a nossa prática aqui no Brasil, ok? Então fica um abraço aí para todo mundo e estejam preparados.